Hey, do you guys remember how many different versions of Cable that Toy Biz gave us in the 5-inch days? They were going crazy with him. They kind of treated him like he was Spider-Man or something. It just seems like they were kind of making up versions of Cable to make action figures up. And back then, I thought that Cable was like one of their like biggest characters or something. I didn't realize until way later that he was actually like a new character that Marvel was trying to push, and that's why they had like so many different toys of him. But man, I remember there being like some kind of weird underwater one and one that kind of looked like an astronaut or something. There was all kinds of different Cables. I didn't know what they were based on. I wasn't sure if they were from the comics or what. All I knew is that I loved them, and to this day I always get excited about new Cable figures, so I'm hyped up to talk about this. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Make sure that you're subscribed. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Cable from the Zabu Build-A-Figure wave. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting off with the packaging. Through the window you are able to see Nathan Summers looking awesome right there, and you can see that he has his weapons and the Build-A-Figure piece and a couple of extra hands. On the side of the box we get a look at some cool looking artwork. On the back we get a look at some more artwork and then a little bit of information about Cable. I really like this artwork right here. It's kind of a shame that the figure itself isn't like based on this artwork with all the pouches and the bare arm and stuff. I would have preferred that look, but it's all good. Down here at the bottom we get a look at all the other figures that it takes to build Zabu, and that's about it for the packaging. But enough about the pretty box, let's go ahead and get Cabled out and take a look. Alrighty, so here we have Cable right out of the box, and as you can see, he is looking pretty damn awesome. There are a few things here that I'm not really crazy about, but for the most part, I think it's a really dope figure, and I feel like Hasbro did a nice job with it. I really like this look for the character. Obviously, it's kind of like your late 90s Cable, or actually, it's more so just basically like a Marvel vs. Capcom version of Cable. Because if you look in like the comics from this era, like, you know, late 90s and early 2000s, Cable did look kind of like this pretty often, but there was always different variations of this kind of general concept. It would be like the blue suit with the yellow straps, but then there'd be a bunch of pouches everywhere, or extra yellow straps, or a bare arm, or X logo on the shoulder, or just all kinds of different things. I feel like this right here is most accurate to the way that he looked in Marvel vs. Capcom. And I think that's pretty cool, especially right now because like Jada Toys is doing such a great job with Street Fighter figures. It's going to be fun to put him along with them and Mega Man and all that stuff. So yeah, it really feels like that version of Cable to me. I would have liked, you know, the bare arm and pouches and all that, kind of like the artwork that's on the box. I would really like that version too. So it would be cool if they put out that version in like a deluxe type of setup with maybe like interchangeable arms and pouches and guns and heads and all that. That'd be pretty cool. But for now, they gave us this, and I think it's pretty damn awesome. So as far as the things I don't like about it, so first off, in this arm, he does have the pins in the joints. And you know, it's not like I hate pins in the joints and everything. I do prefer pinless joints just from like an aesthetic standpoint. But you know, it's not like a deal breaker. But what pisses me off in this case is the fact that he has pinless joints in the, you know, the knees and then on this arm. But then on this one arm, he has pins. I think that's whack. To me, it's kind of like do it all one way. The other thing I'm not crazy about is the boots. Like they just looks painted on and just kind of whack, you know? So yeah, that's, you know, I do have a couple of gripes with this guy, but aside from that, I think they did a really nice job on him. And one of my favorite things about this figure is the head sculpt. I think that Hasbro did a fantastic job on it, and really, it may be the best 1/12 scale Cable head sculpt that we've ever seen. In my opinion, it's much better than any of the ones that we've seen in Legends. It's better than the Mezco, better than the Revoltech. So yeah, I think that Hasbro killed it on the head sculpt. This looks really good. But check it out. I love how we have the energy coming out from the eye right there. And it's kind of like translucent orange plastic. So that's nice. Then on this side, he's got his scarred up eye. And then he's got a perfect facial expression for Cable. And then he does have a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow going. And then his hair's all messed up. So yeah, man, that's a great looking head sculpt. Damn. Yeah, they killed it on this. And then moving down to the body, he does have a lot of new parts. Like the torso looks like it's pretty new. I heard people say that it was the Hercules body, and you know, obviously it's very similar to that, but as you could see, he actually has like clothing details on here, like wrinkles and folds and things like that. So, you know, it's obviously not a smooth body, so maybe it's like a retooled version of the Hercules body. The shoulders definitely come from Hercules. It's kind of got that weird shape to them that is perfect for bigger guys. And I like how the straps are kind of like, you know, they're kind of like pressed down into the torso, so they're not going to move. And you probably can remove them if you like, if you were doing like a custom or something, but yeah, they're kind of like indented into the torso, I guess you could say. But the straps look good. We have the X logos right there. A little bit of detail on the straps themselves. I really love the way they did this. It's kind of like the straps go like into the joint there. So it never looks weird when, you know, you're crunching the figure or doing whatever. So yeah, I like the way they did that. And the belt is a shifting piece that could kind of move around. So that's cool. And then check out the metal arm. This looks awesome. They did a great job with this. Not a whole lot going on back here. And then on this arm, he does have the pinned joints, which doesn't look as good. But aside from that, the arm's well sculpted and stuff. And then these things around the thighs are not like attached to the figure, but they are pretty tight on there. So you don't really have to worry about them like sliding around too much. And coming down to the boots, I really wish they did a little bit more work here. I know it's like accurate to the way he looks in the game and stuff, but I just wish there was a little bit more details here because it just looks like it's painted onto him. And yeah, I don't like it very much. So, you know, and I kind of wish that the yellow stopped right here at the boot so that it didn't like attach to the knee pad at all. Because if the knee pad and the boot were separate pieces, like that's cool. But the way it looks here, it kind of looks like they're the same piece. But then when you know, bend the knee, you see a little bit of blue. So I just kind of wish that it stopped right there and then the knee pad was like an entirely different piece. That would kind of make sense to me. But the way it is right here just kind of seems a little weird with the blue lower knee. Or they should have painted this all the way yellow. But yeah, we just need a little bit of details on the boots. Just something. Even if it's like just sculpted detail to kind of make it feel like it's a different piece. I just don't like the painted on look. So we'll see if I could figure out some type of solution for that. The knee pads look good. But overall, I think it's a really good looking figure. Like I mentioned before, they killed it on the head sculpt. The metal arm looks amazing. The straps are awesome. I just wish there was a little bit more going on down here at the boots. And then I wish he had the pinless arm. But aside from those two gripes, I think it's a really, really dope looking Cable figure. And then for accessories, Cable comes with two different sets of hands. The first set has a fist on the right side and then an open hand on the left side. It would have been nice to get two of each of these, but you know, it is what it is. In addition to that, we get a set of gun gripping hands, and these can be used to hold on to the two guns that he comes with. And we have seen these two guns before. They're pretty much repaints of the guns that came with one of the older Cable figures from Hasbro. And I think that they were kind of better on the older version. Like these new ones kind of look very like plasticky and I don't know, they don't look great. So we have this one and then we have this one. And both of these were released with that other Cable figure back in the day. They were just kind of different colors. So yeah, I like the old one better. But at least with the lighter color here, you're able to see a little bit more of the details. So it is well sculpted and stuff. Both of them are well sculpted, but I just wish that the paint job was better. They don't look like super badass guns that would go good with Cable, you know. They look very plasticky and kind of cheap. So I don't know, I'm not crazy about these guns, but I do appreciate that he came with two sets of hands and some kind of weapons. And then of course he does come with a Build-A-Figure piece to build Zabu. And then here's a quick head swap between the new Marvel Legends Cable and the older Marvel Legends Cable. And yeah, this is pretty dope here. Let's start off with the new one. And as you could see, the head pops right on there and it looks pretty good, but this head sculpt isn't the best out of the two, but it's nice to have options to change it up if you want to. But then looking at this right here, this is awesome. I mean, I don't mind the older head sculpt, but this one is so much better and it makes this figure look so much better. This is still a great figure, by the way. But yeah, throwing this really dope Cable head sculpt on there definitely makes it look a little better, you know. So yeah, we do have some head swap options if you guys want. And then here's a look at the brand new Marvel Legends head sculpt on the Revoltech Cable body, and I think this looks awesome. It fits on there nicely as far as like the size goes, but it doesn't pop on or anything. You'd have to modify the neck to get it to stay on there permanently. Right now, it's just being held on there with some blue tack, but man, this looks dope. Doesn't even really clash with it too much. The skin tones on the head and the arm don't necessarily match, but they're far enough away from each other that I think you could fudge it. So man, that is really dope. That's the one thing I don't like about this Cable figure, you know, the head sculpt that it came with. But throwing this on there definitely makes it way more awesome. And even though it doesn't really work at all, in case anybody was wondering, here's a quick look at the Mezco 112 Collective cable with the Marvel Legends cable head on there. And yeah, it doesn't work at all. It's way too big. But I'm sure people were curious, so I did want to show that off. And then the Mezco head doesn't fit on the Marvel Legends one whatsoever. Like, the ball peg is just way too big. Can't pop it on. But if you want to take a look at how it would kind of look on there, if you figured out a way to do it, then there you go. But yeah, I don't know about that. So this head swap doesn't work whatsoever. And this has nothing to do with cable, but in my Icarus review, a lot of people were asking me how Icarus's head looks on the Kazar body. And I don't know, I think it looks okay, but it is a little big. But you could definitely make that work. Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. It's just slightly big. I don't know. Like, now that I look at it more, it's kind of like, no, I think that works. And then here's a look at Kazar's head on the Icarus body. I think that looks dope too, actually. And huge shout out to Literally Action Figures on Instagram. In my Icarus review, I did a head swap with the Sentry figure with the Sentry head on the Icarus body. And that was actually Literally Action Figures' idea. He requested it during a live stream a couple of days ago. I showed it there, and then when I did it in the video, I forgot to shout him out. So huge shout out to him. But yeah, lots of head swap potential with these new Legends figures. All right, so now for some size comparisons. Here we have the new cable alongside the previous Marvel Legends cable and the Revoltech cable. And it's awesome to have so many cable figures, but I'm kind of greedy. I wish we had more cable figures. I really wish that Hasbro would like do this version of cable. Like, it's very similar to the Marvel Vs Capcom version, but it has more going on. So I really hope that Hasbro revisits this general idea and does it more like this. I'd also like to see them do more cables from like the Messiah complex era of cable. You know, that whole time, like around the time where he took Baby Hope into the future and all that. There was a lot of cool cable designs in that era of comics. Once again, just like this blue and yellow version, it was constantly changing and it looked different almost in every issue. But there was one really cool design that he had where he had like a Captain America shield on his shoulder. I think that'd be really dope to visit that. Or maybe one of the looks where he actually had Baby Hope in a little containment unit on his chest. Hasbro did that back in the day with Marvel Universe. It'd be really cool to see them do that with Legends. But yeah, the more cable, the better, in my opinion. Oh man, this is pretty hilarious. Here we have the Marvel Legends cable alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Previews exclusive cable, and then the standard one on the opposite side. And it's funny seeing all these together because it really highlights how tiny the Mezco cables are. I was okay with those figures, but yes, they are super small, especially when you put them with anything else. And then next up, we have cable alongside the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Bishop and the Marvel Legends Retro Apocalypse. And I would like to see more Bishop figures too, maybe like different designs. I really like the look that he had in that comic book series where Cable was running around like with Hope, like, you know, running through time with Bishop chasing him. Bishop had a cool design where he had like a big M on his chest and a bald head. I would love to get an action figure of that. And you know, we had to get him in here with his best buddy. On the left, we have the Marvel Legends 2-pack Deadpool. On the right, we have the Revoltech Deadpool version 2. And then for some X-Force action, here we have Cable alongside the Marvel Legends Warpath and the Marvel Legends Cannonball. And then next up, we have him alongside the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Cyclops and Wolverine. And I would like to get an X-Men 97 Cable. The way he looked in X-Men 97 is pretty much like that late 90s look with all the pouches and the bare arms. So, you know, this figure is almost there. And then here we have him alongside both of the Mafex Cyclops figures. And then here we have him alongside a couple of his wave mates. On the left, we have the Marvel Legends Icarus. On the right, we have the Marvel Legends Kazar. And I have reviews for both of these guys on my channel now. Be sure to go check them out. And then for some Marvel vs. Capcom action, here we have him alongside the Jada Toy Street Fighter Ryu and the Jada Toy Street Fighter M Bison. I think that he's definitely going to fit right in to that video game shelf. And then for some more of that, here we have him alongside the Jada Toys Mega Man and the Jada Toys Street Fighter Dalsim. Once again, Cable looks amazing with them. And next up, we have him alongside the Mafex X-Force Deadpool and the Mafex Wolverine with the custom head sculpt from Casting Cave. And then for the final size comparison, here we have Cable alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And much like every other figure in the Zabu wave, the articulation on Cable is okay. There's not a whole lot going on here. It's your very standard and basic Marvel Legends articulation setup. And you know, in some cases, I'm perfectly fine with that, you know? Like with Icarus, I love that figure, but the articulation is not amazing. But there's so many other things I like about it that it was kind of easy to give it a pass in the articulation department. The articulation doesn't suck or anything. It's definitely enough for the character, but it's nothing like crazy exciting. But the fact that I loved like all the details, the sculpting, the presence, and just everything else about that figure, it kind of made it easy to forgive the shortcomings in the articulation department. With Cable, because like I have other gripes, I wish there was some more articulation here, you know? But it's not like it's bad. It's definitely enough to have some fun with. And I think it's like, you know, barely enough for Cable. Like, I think this figure could pretty much do everything that you'd want Cable to do. And like I said, I'm having fun with it. But because I don't absolutely love every other element of the figure, I kind of wish there was more articulation. But I don't know if that's fair or not, but that's kind of how I see it. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the head. He does have a ball hinge at the head, so he's able to look down to right there, which is pretty nice. And then he could look up to right there, which is really good. And then he can look side to side. And there's a little bit of tilt action. And then for the torso, he does have an ab crunch that goes forward to right there, which is pretty nice. Not a whole lot, but, you know, that works. And again, I love the way they did the straps, how you could just bend them forward and it's all pretty seamless. That's cool. Then he could bend back to about right there, which, again, you know, that's pretty good. And then he does have a waist swivel. It would have been really nice to get a ball joint here at the waist. That's pretty much always the case. But with Cable, it would have been really cool. And then for the arms, he does have ball joints at the shoulders. No butterfly joint here. It would have been nice if we saw that in here. Especially because they could have kind of hid it under the strap here. But he does have a ball joint at the shoulder, so his arms do go all the way around. And then you could kind of get his arms in front of him, but not a whole lot because he's got like these big old shoulders. And you know, with the straps and his bicep and stuff, it's kind of hard to get his arm in front of him too much. So, I mean, punching poses are okay, but it's a little, you know, it's not as fluid and seamless. But yeah. And then his arms do go up to about right there, which is pretty nice considering he has these big, huge shoulders. It's not like too tight in there, and you could definitely get his arms up a really nice amount. And then he also has upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows. They get a nice bend. And then he does have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. It's a little tight, but yeah, there's a hinge in there. And then for the legs, he's able to kick forward to about right there. He could kick out to the side to about right there, which is nice. There we go. Not a whole lot, actually. And then he does have upper thigh swivel. He has double jointed knees that are really tight, but there we go. Bam. He has a boot swivel. And then at the foot, he has rocking ankles. And then you could bring his foot forward to right there. Then up to right there. So, yeah, like I said, you know, there's definitely enough to do some Cable things. But, you know, it would have been nice to get like a ball joint at the waist or, you know, butterfly joints or just a little bit more in there would have been cool. But still, I am having fun playing with this figure. Oh, that looks dope right there. I am having a lot of fun playing around with this figure. And yeah, I think the articulation is, you know, it's enough, but some more would have been nice. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think this is a really, really dope Cable figure. Hasbro did a nice job with it. I don't think it's perfect. I definitely have some gripes, but despite those gripes, I'm having a good time with this figure. It's probably going to go down as like the best Marvel Legends Cable that we've seen so far. It's not like he has a whole bunch of competition, but he's definitely one of the better ones that Hasbro has put out of the few they've actually released of the character. Hasbro needs to treat Cable like Toy Biz did back in the day. Give us all the Cables. Give us as many Cables as you possibly can. He's just such an awesome, fun character, and he's like perfect for action figures. So give us more Cables. Anyways, as far as my gripes go, I've mentioned them several times in the video. I really wish that the non-robotic arm had the pinless joints, mostly so it just matched with the rest of the figure and felt more consistent. As it is right now, everything else is pinless, but then that one arm has the pins in it, and for me, it kind of interrupts the illusion a little bit. So it would have been nice if that arm had the pinless joints. And then I do wish that his boots had some kind of detail to make them actually feel like boots. As it is right now, it just looks like his lower leg is painted in yellow. So it's kind of weird for a character like Cable. You know, he's got straps and everything all over the place. So it would have been cool if he had some kind of straps in the lower leg to kind of make his boots actually feel like boots. And then it would have been cool if he came with some more interesting accessories. And so those are my gripes with the figure. And you know, there are quite a few, I guess you could say, but none of those things are really taken away from my enjoyment of the figure. You know, they're just things that I wish were a little bit different. And if they were different, I feel like the figure would have been a little better. The things I love about it is that it looks amazing. Like, it's a perfect build for Cable, a perfect size. The other thing I really love about this figure is the head sculpt. I think that Hasbro absolutely killed it right there. The scars on the eyes, the 5 o'clock shadow, the perfect, like, angry, grumpy facial expression for the character. They did an awesome job on the head sculpt. In my opinion, it's the best 1/12 scale head sculpt that we've seen for this character, so that's dope. And I do like the design they went with. The Marvel vs. Capcom look is awesome. It's pretty iconic. It's one of the more recognizable Cable looks, you know what I mean? So it does make sense that they went with it, and I think they did a good job. But I do hope that one day they give us like the look from the comics that kind of has this general feel but more going on. I think they could definitely do that if they give us like a, you know, like a deluxe Cable. Maybe do something very similar to this with more pouches, more weapons, and maybe like interchangeable arms. Remember in the comics when he kind of looked like this and his virus was kind of going out of control or something, and his arm got all crazy and big, and there was just like he had a big old claw and all kinds of crazy stuff. It'd be dope to have a interchangeable arm to be able to do that. And then maybe like interchangeable arms where you have one that's bare, one that's not bare, maybe like a robotic arm that's mostly covered in skin or something. Like, that would be awesome. There's a lot of possibilities for Cable. So hopefully Hasbro takes advantage of that, give us more Cable figures, redo this kind of look, but make it feel a little bit more comic book accurate. But I am very happy that we got a Marvel vs. Capcom Cable. I think a lot of people wanted this look, and like I said, Hasbro came through with it and did a good job. So I am happy. I did get an extra Cable so I could keep one as like the Marvel vs. Capcom version, but I think I'm gonna definitely modify this, kit bash it, whatever, just kind of change it up a little. It's gonna be a fun project to kind of like spruce this up a little bit. But yeah, man, like I said, despite this figure's flaws, I think he came out pretty damn good, and I'm very happy to have a new Cable figure because he's badass and he always makes for good toys, and this guy's no exception. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.